Oh boy, welcome everybody to the Eden Army podcast. I am your host this evening, Pete Robertucci. This is July 2nd, I think, season 2, episode 22 of the podcast. And we're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Kick.com. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That's what keeps the lights on, obviously. Thank you, Bullshite, Guy, Mama Teresa, and Caleb. I say K-Love, Russ. Russ in the back. Yeah. K-Love, thank you for your resubscriptions. Who's over in Kick tonight? Let's see. Oh, you got Susie Q, you got Guy, you got Miss Terry, Rev. Let's see who else we got there. Botrix, Miss Terry. I'm just reading through chat, guys. Make sure I don't miss anybody. And of course, most of our viewers are on kick.com, although we are doing other platforms, like I said. But tonight's going to be a good night. We're going to be talking about the Supreme Courts. They've been busy. They've done some rulings on birthright citizenship, as well as a few other things. 13 Democrats broke ranks with their far left counterparts. We're going to touch bases about what's going on there and how that could be good for the GOP. Rhode Island implemented their assault rifle ban, assault rifles, and that takes effect today. So that's going to be next on the Supreme Court's docket. It's already on the docket for next year, as well as some other news. But first, well, I was in Elkton, Florida this year at one of the preparedness conferences there. I was lucky enough, well, some would say unlucky enough, to be between our good friend Bobby Lind and our guest for tonight, Mr. Tony Debenedictis. Tony owns and operates an up-and-coming company called Alpha 42, and it's my great pleasure to introduce him tonight on the Eden Army podcast. Listen, you guys in chat, be nice to him. I know how riled up you guys can get, but I think he's going to fit in pretty darn good. So, Mr. Tony, welcome, sir, to the Eden Army podcast. Good to have you, man.
Appreciate you, Pete. Good to see you again. I would like to say the weather's a little different, but it's not.
No, it's not, which is unseasonably weird. It must be that global warming Al Gore was talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe France was right. It is our fault.
Actually, I think I was going to pull that clip tonight, Russ. I forgot about it. So for what Mr. Debenedictis is telling us about, is talking about, is France blames the United States for global warming. So we're going to touch bases on that a little bit anyway. Yeah. So, Tony, we met in Elkton, Florida. By God, Elkton, Florida. First time I was ever there. First time you were there, I'm assuming.
Yes, it was.
We in my opinion, we kind of got along pretty good. I mean, we were taking a couple jabs back and forth at each other. You were having a much better day than I was having. You were making all the money, and I was just sitting there trying to peddle my few books that I have. But we had some pretty good banter going back and forth.
Yeah, life is a matter of perspective, apparently, because I saw it totally the opposite. If I remember, I asked you for a couple bucks so I could buy a bag of chips and a water, which I'm still waiting for, but it's cool.
Well, and I think you did give me some beef jerky, which probably put you in the red for the actual event, I think.
Yes, the beef jerky did put me in the negative. The good thing is, my family, I have some family in Florida, so they loaned me a couple bucks to get back home.
Oh, perfect.
It was my first show, actually. First time I met you. And now here I am on my first podcast with you. So if this all goes to crap, it's your fault.
Well, that's usually the way it works in my life. That's what my wife tells me. So you're going to fit right along with us. It's just look, everything's going to get better. Don't worry about it, T. No, everything's going to get good.
That's what all you people keep telling me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Married? Any youngsters running around?
I am. Yeah. So I'm married. It'll be 20 years this year, and I have a 14-year-old and I have a 10-year-old, and we started our family in, we'll say, South Carolina. I was stationed in Georgia at the time, but we were living on the other side of the border, and I retired out of Northern Virginia, which we can get into a little bit of the background later. But we ended up down here in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, and this is what we call home now.
Excellent. Well, I mean, let's get into it. What did you do prior to starting Alpha 42?
Well, I was born and raised in Central Florida, and I joined the military back in '88. I was in the infantry for just under 4 years. Deployed to Panama, had a stint in Korea, and then I decided to get out to see what the world would offer me. And 10 years later, I pretty much had every job you could imagine that doesn't take any more than a high school diploma. So um, I and then 9/11 happened. I decided to join and try, come in and try to do my part. And I actually went into logistics at that point. I was a fueler. I did 2 stints in Iraq. Actually, one in Iraq, one in Afghanistan. Sorry, and I then changed jobs to counterintelligence. So you have to apply at that time. I got accepted, deployed a couple more times, and then I assessed. I applied and assessed for a unit where I finished out my career, a special operations unit in Northern Virginia, and then I retired. Met a lot of great people, had a lot of great experiences, which we can get into some, maybe not others, but
Mhm.
it kind of got me down the road of because my career was very, very much so not traditional. It took me in all kinds of walks of life. I got out and had a real good buddy. We started the company together. Alpha 42 is actually like our beginning of our first company. And I was in for 22 years. He was in for 20. So we called it Alpha 42. The goal was to do government contracting, for intelligence backgrounds and stuff like that, and intelligence support. But we found out quickly that it's not really the game we wanted to be a part of. We were both still in Northern Virginia. So we decided to go different ways. He's doing great things up in the Maryland area and Annapolis area. He's got some great things he's got going on. I bought the naming rights, and I moved down here to, like I said, Southwest Virginia, and kind of shifted it towards security consulting. I've done now at this point, I do threat and vulnerability assessments. I've done I teach classes for my buddy that owns a security company that I do close protection, executive protection for, which I've done for the last 5 years, high net worth individuals, political figures. And now that I've done that for 5 years and I'm a little bit older, I'm trying to shift towards some more of the intellectual properties that I have, lean more into not the physical security itself as far as manning it, but helping people with assessments, leaning more into the civilian populace. And I have products. I have a line of body armor now, and I'm working on a plate carrier. It's pretty close to coming out. It's getting there. And then I'm gonna have some EDC pouches, go bags, stuff like that, which I'm working towards. I'm still doing the close protection and stuff for a select client, and kind of pay the bills on these long trips. As you know, gas isn't cheap right now, getting to these shows and all that good stuff. But it's been an interesting journey as you get older. You can do this for a while, but I want to spend more time at home with the family and give back to the community, make them more capable.
Yeah, right. That's always the goal, right? Well, it should
Yeah.
be for most men that have a family. So let's talk about your consumables with the Alpha 42 company itself. What does Alpha 42 bring to the table for the preparedness person, the person that's worried about the family security and stuff like that? What you do have a couple items that are kind of geared toward that, right?
I do, and that's really the focus. I mean, right now I'm building it on top of the body armor line that I have. Which is created in Arkansas, and we finish it here in Virginia. And really, what I'm trying to do with Alpha 42 is bring people peace of mind, right? And that's whether that's guidance, whether it's products, whether it's me teaching and instructing, or anything across the board. Our hopes is that all the different things that we provide as a business, especially when it comes to prepping and or tactical gear or anything, that the only use we get out of it is training it and maintaining it.
Right.
Ultimately, you don't want to use it because you don't want to think about that worst case scenario actually happening. But there's enough information in the world that we see every day that tells us we don't have complete control of everything that's going on like we used to, and we cannot rely on, unfortunately, for a multitude of reasons, we can't rely on our local, state, or federal government to be there for us in a time of need. And if I can give guidance, equipment, along with other great people in this space to make people more capable and more prepared, and again, give them peace of mind. I don't live in a bubble. I hope other people don't live in a bubble, and shut themselves down and remove themselves from society. I'm trying to give people quite the opposite effect,
Right.
to where that you're doing everything you can to keep you and your family safe. You're, intellectually, you're approaching each day accordingly.
So it's like one of the mottos that Tia at Mountain Readiness has: be prepared, not paranoid, right? You still
Exactly.
have to live your life. Just be prepared for some of the things that may come down the pipe at you. And unfortunately, we're in a time in our society right now, that's correct, Russ, that that we need to be vigilant and we need to be prepared. And as leaders of households, we need to be prepared for our family also. So that's yeah, I mean, that's our motto. And one of our other mottos is you're your own first responder.
For
Look,
sure.
I've worked as a first responder for almost 15 years, and I can tell you right now, your first responders, no matter what the municipality is not prepared for a lot of things that we may see here in the
Yeah.
future. So but what now the tactical gear arena, Tony, the tactical gear arena has a lot of competition.
Sure.
What's your goal for Alpha 42 and what's going to set you apart from your competitors?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that question, actually. I don't even consider myself a tactical company. I offer upfitting of vehicles, which means like, soft armor and things like that. There's a fellow business here in Virginia where I can uh, support and supply safe rooms. Again, the intellectual property of it. So I am really trying to focus on the citizens and communities, churches, and people of that type, to give them an entry into the space. There's a lot of great tactical companies out there, and I use a lot of their gear. But I've got 22 years of experience, and the government's spending a lot of money on me, understanding what it is I'm asking for, shopping for, and everything else. And I want to give people a place to where they can transition into a more prepared life, whether that's a small business, a large corporation, or, like I said, a community. Going and spending a god awful amount of money on gear that's great and having nothing left over to train and or supplement those other areas that you need to provide for, it's not really something I want to do. I want to help people become, holistically more prepared and capable. So I really want to be an entry into this space. I really don't consider myself a tactical company. So,
Well, well,
yeah,
don't sell yourself short because there's a lot of there's a lot of need for good gear. Doesn't have to be
sure.
the top of the line gear. Good
Yeah,
gear that you can use, that you can train with, that actually have a good price point that's going to bring people. Look, when people are first starting out, they're not going to buy the highest end item. They're not going to do it. And I tell people don't do it.
sure.
I'd rather have three of something cheaper that works than one of something that you're never going to use because you're afraid to get dirty. You're never going to become comfortable with. You're not going to bring it out to the range. You're not going to wear it. You're not going to roll around in the dirt with it. This is what I tell people. So don't sell yourself short because there's a lot of value in what you're trying to do.
Sure. And, I appreciate that. And that'll help me clarify. When I say entry level, I'm building my gear and all my equipment to last and to go with that journey, go down that road with you, and be an enduring product for that journey that you have. I'll use a plate carrier as an example, the one that I'm working on. I'm ensuring that it's going to last years and years, if not a decade, as you transition into different pouches, different weapons, different training. You can take that with you instead of jumping right into a $500 carrier. We'll say, this one will grow with you as you can change the cummerbunds, or you want to put back panels on it. You want to switch out the panels. It'll be very modular and everything. The armor I put it up against any armor in the world. I have zero issue with it. And I have different armor at different price points. So when I say entry level, it's very hard for people or for anybody that's got a lot of experience to remember who we were when we first started.
Right.
Because we're very far removed from it. So I really try to pay attention to people that are new when I'm talking to them and everything. And I want them to be able to go to my website and see a few items and not be overwhelmed when they go there. And when they go to check out, they see this giant price point that
Right.
leaves them either not willing to buy it, or again, they buy so much that they're still not ready to get trained with it or in a position to be trained with it. It's just bigger than equipment. It's a mindset thing for me too. So I want to build equipment that helps people transition as they become more and more capable. I really have no desire to compete with the large tactical companies. There'll be some bleed over, but I think there's space. I tell everybody there's cookies. There's enough cookies for everybody. On the business side of it, but I am really focused on making us all more self-reliant, so we're less of a burden on this government of ours, so they can so the government can run more efficiently and help the people that are either choosing not to be more resilient and reliant on their self, or just aren't capable. We have a lot of older people in this country. We have people that are impoverished, and they're just not in a position to do some of the things that those of us that can, whether you nickel and dime your way into a better position, which I'm a big fan of, or you are already financially set to do that. So I'm trying to be a kind of like a one-stop shop to get you started, so you're not going all over the place. And I'll have a core set of items. Core is one of my things. It's kind of my line for my textiles. And it's community-oriented and readiness equipment. That'll be my plate carriers, my bags, my EDC stuff, and then of course I have my armor right now, and I do backpack bags, and I'm going to continue to grow that as a community. And my clients kind of demand me and move me instead of me dictating to them what I think they should have.
Right, exactly. I mean, we all have that one friend or that one guy in our group that wants to buy the top of the line stuff,
Sure.
and he always buys it. He gets it, and then he decides he doesn't like it. So what ends up happening is we get the top of the line stuff for half price because this knucklehead's going through it like
Yeah,
crazy,
exactly.
doesn't like it, so he's selling it off at pennies for the dollar. So I like your concept. Look, here's something you can take with you from day one until and I use this, this is hyperbole a little bit, guys,
Sure.
from day one to door kicking, right?
Yeah.
Let's just look, I don't expect all of our preparedness people to be ready to breach doors and CQB and stuff like that. But the ability would be there should you want to do that, or should you pursue that kind of thing. So I like your game plan. I like your motto.
100%. Yeah. And to your point, that's why I say it's an entry level. It's not just financial. It's it's you being able to, like I said, grow with the kid. If you're just getting into it, there's so much you just don't know. There's so much about the fight, the preparedness, everything else, the mindset that you don't realize. And if you're already tapped out already financially, it's already going to be harder to go to the next step, and grow. Again, it gets very off-putting. And the goal for me is, again, to make you more capable. And if I'm tapping you out for every single nickel, then what do you have in your cupboard, so to speak? What do you have in your truck? What can you do for your neighbor? You can't go get training. You know what I mean? I would prefer, and then this is honestly the way I'm approaching it, is I'm making quality, great gear. I'm designing quality and great gear. And it's going to give you the ability to go out and get you a good pair of shoes so you can go hike and train and work out, right? To go get some medical gear, which I'll have some on my site, but it'll give you the ability to get some gear, to go get some training, to get a good first aid, a trauma kit, etc. So you can be there not just for your family and yourself, but for your neighbor. Because more times than not, you're going to find that as you grow in this space, you become more capable, which in essence, if you do it the right way, you make your community more capable. And that's where where I want all of us to be, is where we're all in a better place.
Exactly. And we preach that a lot, right? We preach community a lot. Now I'm a bit of a look, don't hold this against me, T. Don't hold this against. But I always look at anybody coming from the outside. I always want to provide for my family first. And I don't mind bringing in outsiders as long as they bring value to my core group, right? But at some point, you're going to have to reach outside that. Are you going to be able to help your neighbor? Are you going to be able to do this? So you have to be fiscally responsible. And let's
For
be
sure.
honest, with inflation and all that, look, shit's expensive, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned it yourself. Gas is going through the roof. Inflation's through the roof. This, that, the other thing. Minimum wage keeps going up, but it seems like we have less and less money. So
Yeah.
I feel your pain. I like the concept. This is why I knew I was going to like you right away. Not that, besides the fact that you're busting my chops for 2 days, but, but
You can afford it.
So you're not just setting your, just let's move a little forward there. You're not just setting your sights on personal protection. You have another product, or you have the ability, I should say.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned it a little bit to make a hardened, small, big, hardened, safe room lining. Is that true?
Yeah. So there's a fellow company here in Virginia locally that provides safe room installation. And I mean, it goes from having a couple walls to having a complete facility built inside your house and or an external dwelling, but with ventilation systems and everything. And a lot of the products the product that they use to build these walls, I actually use to design my backpack panels to give people an affordable entry price point that gives you pistol and rifle protection. So it's the same materials. There's some proprietary stuff there. But if anybody comes to my site, I can get you in touch with somebody that I vetted. I don't put products and I don't talk about other people unless I know they're good people. And this company's good people. They're here locally and they travel all over the US, very affordable and incredible products. Like I said, the same products and designer of these rooms are the same ones that create my body armor and my backpack panels.
Well, what immediately came to mind when you started telling me a little bit about that, living in Florida with hurricanes,
Sure.
we are every year we're putting up plywood on the windows, we're putting up this, and I'm not just saying that using your product for hurricane protection, but from a tactical standpoint too. If you wanted to harden soft points like windows or doors, is this something we could buy cut to size and delivered to us and have us put it up? Where are you at on that?
Yeah, so we do have the ability to do that. Yeah, I will say it this way: anything can be done.
Yeah, right.
If you're willing to pay for it, right?
Right.
So, and it's not, in comparison, I'll tell you, it's not absorbent. But you could imagine, you see how much body armor is, and at scale, it gets expensive. But it has fire rating. And it comes all the way up to 2 inches, which will stop a 50 cal round. So at a certain price point, it's quite significant the capability. Right. And it is. I look at things more than just trying to keep out the horde of invaders, right? I kind of say this to everybody, and anybody that's heard me talk before, I apologize because I'm gonna say it again. Everybody has their own boogeyman, and that may not even be a person. It could be a hurricane. It could be the wildfires right now out in Colorado and Utah, where I have family out there, and there's different things that everybody needs. There's some boogeyman everybody's trying to answer, and these safe rooms, equipment like mine, and services that other people offer, that's really the peace of mind. I want you to know that you're answering that challenge from whatever that boogeyman is, because that's the road. Every region, from the time you leave from Wisconsin to go back to Florida, you went through 3 different geographical areas,
right,
and populaces, right? So we're all in a different place in our preparedness journey, not to mention the geographical challenges that we have, right?
Sure.
Or environmental, sorry. And these rooms help answer that. And same thing with the upfitting. Does everybody need a armored vehicle? Does everybody need an armored house? An armored room, a safe room? I can't answer that for everybody, but everybody knows what's going to bring them peace of mind, right? I'm not going to sell disaster. I'm not going to sell fear mongering and stuff like that. I have my own experiences. I conduct myself to protect my family accordingly. And I know that every day I have a good day because I'm ready for what the world wants to throw at me.
Exactly. So it's about that state of mind, that peace of mind, right?
Exactly.
And this is what I kind of like about that I'm just going to call it a modular system.
Sure.
That, I mean, you could take that material, that proprietary material that you guys have. You could do shields.
Yep.
you could do it as like I said, a window covering, a door covering,
Yeah.
harden just one of your soft spots in your house for a relatively cheap price. We had to have one question.
Yeah.
What's the weight of that that soft armor you have, the level 3A? Do you know what the weight of that is per panel?
The level 3A, which is a Kevlar. They're all Kevlar for the most part, the soft armor, but mine sits right at about just under 1 pound for a 10 by 12 panel.
Right. So that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I have a soft Kevlar. I have a flexible polyethylene, and then we do have ceramics and stuff too. I mean, as far as body armor itself, I can provide all of it. Helmets. So you said shields earlier. I have shields that I even take to the shows. It's limitless. It's for schools, churches. It's very unique what this product can be used for. You can emboss logos on the outside and give people a safe place to egress to if there's a shooting or something like that. It's just it's limitless. They can be hung as doors. It's just there's a reason there's a consultation process. Sorry about that.
Yeah, your imagination is, you're only limited by your imagination, and that's what I really liked about what you were selling. Are you looking at putting any product testing videos out?
I am, and that's the space I'm trying to get into. I'm trying to grow out of it. For the past 5 years, I've been really client focused with the personal protection, executive protection, and growing out of the intelligence background that I had. This is a new arena for me, like kind of putting myself out there. So that is up and coming. It's different speaking openly about your past and what do you do and all that.
Right.
So you get to see me
in my career, I spent my entire career trying to stay out from in front of a camera, trying to stay out in front of away from news media. And then all of a sudden I write a stupid book, and all of a sudden now I have to start talking to people and shit. Right. Yeah. So what do you know? Now I'm on a podcast, meeting great guys like you, I reckon.
Yeah, it's working for you. I'm trying to find my way. It's not a great business model, but my goal is to help everybody, and I don't want them or me to go broke doing it.
Exactly.
So it's just trying to find the balance there and bringing my family along for a lot of the shows. And my wife, I'll tell you, like the backpack panels that we decided to create to be a more entry good price point for people, because polyethylene is the armor in general, the thinner and lighter it is, the more expensive it is. Polyethylene is extremely light, extremely capable, but it's very expensive. Right. So we use this product that's also used for the safe rooms to get cut down and turned into 10 by 14 panels. And I have them water jetted here locally in Virginia. And then me and my wife coats them in our carport, and then I label them, and we bag them and we sell them. So it's really a family. And ship them. Yeah, man. And it's a family affair. I meet people like you and good people in the space, and I enjoy the feedback. And I don't need, like I said, I don't need to be the tactical company out there. There's a lot of great companies. I'll let you grow into that area. I want to sell you modular equipment that allows you to grow in your environment and answer your boogeyman. So, like I said earlier, and bring you peace of mind. And that's where the space I want to fill.
Exactly. And guys, there are some questions about the website. He's working on the website. He's only got a few items on there right now. So no, Patrick, you can't buy his core vest plate carrier for $0. It's just showing that in the website.
Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. In 30 days, there'll be a couple numbers added on there, but it won't be too bad. I will tell you, all my stuff is extremely competitively priced, and I'm gonna leave it that way.
Correct. And it's a great product. The price point is right on it. I like look, I'm getting old, guys. I can't be lugging around these 17, 20 pound front and back plates anymore. Look, I hate to admit it, I'm getting old. And so I'm certainly going to invest in a couple of plates for my carrier, because it's getting rough. What's the one item from your company, every household, especially if you have children? What's that one item you would say, if you can't buy anything else, I want you to buy this one item?
I tell you what, I'm really big on my backpack panels, whether it's the Titan or the Guardian. The Titan is rifle rated, and then the Guardian is pistol rated FN 5.7 and below. They are a little heavier, like I said, than the polyethylene, much lighter than steel. But it's something that a father or mother that works or uses public transit, kids going to school, going to camps, whatever, you can slide in their laptop part of their backpack, and it makes them a little bit safer and gives them a place to hunker down behind. God forbid something happens. So I'm really big on that right there myself. It's really what drove me into this space. And anybody that leaves their house, regardless of their profession or schooling, colleges, churches, whatever, it's a real easy way to put a couple pound panel in your backpack and give yourself a fighting chance at the end of the day.
It's an everyday carry item. It is just an EDC item.
Yeah. All my kids have them, and I have them in all my bags. Sorry to cut you off there.
No.
My kids go to a great school here. They go to private school. It's a safe school. But, there's a community that's wrapped around that school, and we have to transition to and from school. And, again, my goal is to help people answer whatever questions they have or concerns. And this is one way of doing that, knowing that a big thing for me that people don't always take in consideration is when things do go bad, the mental challenges you have after those things is really that's a big part of the struggle, right? Mm-hmm. And knowing that you did everything you can is really what can get you through. And I don't want people to have to second guess what if, and it's connected to a dollar amount. So a lot of my products I keep at a price point to where I can feed my kids because the law tells me to do so. But I don't make it to where it's just not affordable. I just can't do that. I can't justify that, and it's hard for me to realize and look at people and know that they may walk away not having something because of a price point.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, and that's a lot of the reason I preach some of the stuff I do about some of the cheaper stuff. If it works, it works. Like, it's not the Gucci. It's not if it look. I went through 15 years of putting on Chinese tourniquets on a fire truck. Right. Yeah. I never had one of them fail. Now are the North American, are they better? 100%.
For sure.
But I'm saying if you can't afford it, do something.
But something. The saying, right? One is none. So you have two. So if one fails, you got it, right? And that's the great thing about my products. If I'm listing anything on my site, and that's why I slow roll stuff that I put on there, it's not cheap. It's inexpensive. And you're getting great quality, and I'm going to make sure it stays at a price point. I'm good. I've spent my whole life being broke. So if I can help you out, that's a trend that I'm already used to. So I don't need. I'm blessed because I retired and I have a retirement, and I'm still able to do other work. And it's really a communal thing for me. I really want to make other people more capable. I love knowing that when I walk out of this house, I'm better than most people, and I'm ready for what comes at me. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's comforting because the world's a crazy place. Even if it's only half as bad as they try to sell it to you, Right. There's still some stuff out there to worry about. And I don't care if you're a husband, wife, mother, father, or you just have a dog at the house you care a lot about. You want to make sure you can provide. And
well, I something really stuck with me, what you said, especially as a father, as a leader of my household, having the regret of not doing something for my family when I had the ability to do something. Sure. The regret would kill me worse than anything possible. So I like what you said there, Tony. Like I said, I had met you in Elkton at the Preparedness conference there. Since then, you've gone to Mountain Readiness.
Yeah.
Where's the next viewing for Alpha 42?
So right now I'm going to be at Kentucky Sustainable Living, which is, I believe, the 17th and 18th of July in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And perfect. I'm for sure committed to that one. I'm going to see, honestly, what the fires and everything are doing out west and how things go financially. And I hope to be at Mountain Readiness in Montana and Peaks and Plains, which is also in Bozeman, Montana, 2 weeks later. Whether I'm there or not, these are great organizations. They put together great shows. I would really implore anybody to go out and visit these places. I keep meeting great people, great customers come through there. They're homesteading and prepper. So there's just so much to learn. It's very, very empowering. There's kids there. It's been a great journey for me. Like you said, the first time we met, it was my first show. It's a smaller show, but it was really enjoyable. And
well, that was the company you were with. That's why.
Yeah. And you. Yeah.
What about October? There's an event in Harmony, North Carolina. That's a mountain readiness
Yes,
event.
sir. My daughter already told me we got to go back because she met a great little gaggle of hyenas that were running around and enjoying the show. So we got to go back.
Perfect. It's all about community.
It really is.
Yeah. Stick around. We're going to pay some bills here with a quick commercial, and then we're going to come back with Mr. Russ. And if anybody has any more questions for you, then we'll line those up for you. But hang tight real quick.
Yes, sir.
Food for Thought is the third installment in the Eden Army Survival Series, focusing on one of the most critical elements of long-term preparedness: food. This manual breaks down the reality of food preservation and storage without relying on theory or assumption. Beyond preservation, this manual addresses the factors that determine whether stored food is truly effective. Caloric requirements, nutritional balance, safe handling practices, and proper rotation are treated as essential components, not afterthoughts. The goal is to move beyond stockpiling and toward building a system that functions under pressure. Food for Thought is designed to provide clear, usable information that can be applied in real conditions. It emphasizes preparation, discipline, and understanding over convenience. This manual is not about excess, it is about readiness.
All right, everybody, pick up Food for Thought at Amazon and increase your preparedness library, if you would. Russ, what do you think about this guy over here to my left? What do you think, huh? Should we keep him around for a little bit longer or what?
Yeah, we can let him hang a little bit. Tony,
remember what you told me about Pete earlier, Russ. Remember what you said, so mind your words, buddy.
Yeah,
it's all true. I hate to admit it. It really is.
I mean, Pete, you're very lucky that I wasn't on the interview with you. There were several times that I could have said something, and I didn't. I was good.
Perfect.
No, Tony and I, he reminded me that I'd actually gone and talked to him at Mountain Readiness. You guys know that I'm busy as all get out when I'm there. But we had a great conversation. What was it, Tuesday? And I think he's going to be a great fit.
Yeah. And I'm gonna open it up right now for you, Tony. You have an open invitation. We do a podcast every Thursday night. If you want to be a part of it, jump on. You're going to see how the usual format plays out here in a few minutes once we go through the news. But you have an open invitation anytime we're on, sir, to be a part of the crew.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's a rough friggin' crew. I'll be honest with you. It ain't easy. But guys, if you have any more, Tony's going to stay with us. Can you stay with us for another half hour, T?
Of course. Yeah,
perfect.
I'm here for you.
T's going to stay through the news with us, guys. So if you have any other questions, just put it up in chat, and we'll interrupt the news. Russ will pin them, and we'll make it happen. But Russ, do you have any other additional questions for
the peanut gallery? They can use hashtag Alpha42, and you guys hit a couple of really good points. We all, like y'all mentioned, we all know those folks that have all the Gucci gear, but that's all they have. They're not well rounded. I agree with you, Pete. And I would rather have someone that's still rucking an LBE from the late 80s or even 70s, that knows what he's doing and brings other things to the fight than somebody with all this Gucci gear.
Yeah, and guys that are afraid to train with it, right? Especially guys. I see it in my group all the time. A guy will buy a Kimber or something, and the next thing he's afraid to drop the magazine in the sugar sand. He's trying to take it and put it in his pocket. No, that's it. We chunk those. They're a tool. Learn to use them. But I agree.
Be humble. For sure.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do any training with me, you'll get humbled real quick. That's just the way it is. But we do it in a good way, right, Russ?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely
we always have a good time out on the range, which we need to get to battle.
Yes. Russ, there's a lot of news in the headlines that we need to go over before it gets too late. First thing is the Supreme Court had a lot of stuff going on this week, guys. And it's been a busy week for them. From what I understand, they've already closed up shop or they've got another day or two and they're closing up shop. So anything not heard by the Supreme Court this go around will be coming around, I think in the springtime, whenever they come back into session. But one of the things they did tackle, which was a slap in President Trump's attempt to restrict birthright citizenships, they reaffirmed that nearly all children born in the U.S. soil are citizens under the 14th Amendment. Now, there are critics saying that they should have never applied the 14th Amendment to that, but we'll leave that to the constitutional lawyers. Not my opinion. In a 6-3 decision, the court struck down an executive order which would have denied automatic citizenship to children born to undocumented immigrants or parents in this country with temporary passes or visas. What he was trying to do is stop tourism births, is what he was trying to do. This was the intent behind most of what he was trying to do, in addition to some other things. Don't get me wrong. Let's not be naive. He was trying to do some other things. But that was his main goal. So I don't know how exactly he's going to try to attack that next. The ruling's a major defeat for the administration's immigration agenda and preserves a constitutional principle that has stood for more than a century. While the White House may now shift to cracking down on birth tourism, which is what I was talking about, and immigration fraud, the court made it clear that birthright citizenship itself remains protected. Let's watch this clip.
So we want to get you now to some breaking news. So President Donald Trump has issued his first public statement after. All right, so we want to get you now to some breaking news. So President Donald Trump has issued his first public statement after the U.S. Supreme Court on today overturned his executive order restricting birthright citizenship. So here is the post there on Truth Social. I just want to read a portion of this. So it says, the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country. We can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process. No long, unwielding constitutional amendment is necessary. Congress should start today to work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship. They will have my complete and total support, President Donald J. Trump. And again, that's a post he just posted within the last couple of hours, responding to the Supreme Court's decision to uphold that birthright citizenship 14th Amendment there again, which is a big blow to the Trump administration.
All right, let's cut that short. This guy's starting to aggravate me a little bit. Russ, any what do you say about this? Do you have any opinion on this?
Man, I'm sorry, Russ's opinion. You know, if you're not a U.S. citizen, I don't care if your parents are not U.S. citizens and you happen to be born here, whoop-de-frickin-do. Carry your butt back to where you're from. You don't automatically get citizenship. That's not the way it should work.
Yeah, I think the main concern here was that the precedents that have been set for, like they said, nearly a century. So when you talk about a legal precedents, this is what you're trying to derive an opinion from. And much like we're going to see another legal precedents we're going to talk about here in a little bit that everyone's going to say, yeah, that makes sense. We got to kind of look at it from both standpoints. Or I don't know, Rev, how many vacation births per year there are, but I will say though, there are people that automatically on their 8th month of pregnancy come here with a visa, hopefully trying to get their kid to be born here so he's afforded all the benefits under our Constitution. And then somebody brought a good point up on the radio today. It was one of these Hobunk radio stations here in the Northwoods. They said, imagine this, and imagine Chinese citizens come over here on vacation. They have a baby here. They immediately take that child back to China. They indoctrinate him. When that kid's 35 years old, he's eligible to be president. He's eligible to be president.
Yep.
He's a U.S. citizen. Now, I don't know if there can be stipulations put in place to guard against something like that would make both sides happy. I'm not sure. I don't know. Tony, you got any insight on any of this, or what are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say it's insight, but I would say, you know, in general, I agree with the direction y'all are going, right? Like we don't want people coming over here in their 7th, 8th month, getting a 3-month visa, specifically to circumvent the laws and policies that we have in place in this country, right? Because we don't know what's going to come of that. I think if we use discernment and look at some of the nuanced stuff, and we have people that have been here for years and years, which is a whole nother conversation. It's an uncomfortable conversation because technically somebody's been here 15 years and are undocumented. There's a conversation to be had there, but there is 100% zero reason to allow tourist births.
I'm kind of with you. And to your point,
and there's a way around it. You know, like you know who's here legally and not. There's some form of identification when you go into a hospital, and you either have a U.S. identification or not. And there can be a process there to help alleviate that specifically. And it's almost like we need to have two conversations because it's almost two different things we're talking about.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring that fact up, that in some hospitals you have to have documentation. In some of the blue states, they've made it illegal to ask your status.
Sure.
So in California has the highest rate of birth tourism in the country, and there's a reason.
I think that's where the argument and the fight needs to be. Right. Instead of everybody jumping on, I don't want to call it a blanket statement, or a blanket concern, but that's the concern. You know, like a lot of the things that come from a certain side of the aisle, you know, they like to play the word game and talk around things. But the fact of the matter is you want IDs for one thing, but you don't for another, and it's because it benefits you. You know, we're all either going to do this the right way or we're not.
Yeah,
and,
it's a good point, Tony.
Yeah.
Patrick, there's a lot of debate on whether or not this 14th Amendment applies here. There are people that say no, it does not apply. There are people, of course, that say yes, of course it applies. But that's for legal scholars, not for Pete and his merry mess of men to try to figure out. Those are people that have spent a lot of money on college that can fight that argument. It's not for me. Good stuff. Now the Supreme Court guys. Russ, did you have anything to add, buddy? You're all right with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And 6-3 was a pretty wide margin also. Somebody had mentioned that 6-3 was a wide margin. So that's a vast majority of people that agree that birthright citizenship, or I should say Supreme Court justices that agree that birthright citizenship is something that should be adhered to. So look, I'm not either which way. I'm not going to get my feathers in a ruff about this right now. There's going to be more to be heard about it. And maybe there'll be some leeway on both sides of the aisle, but I doubt that. But the Supreme Court also, guys, in their session, ruled that states can enforce bans keeping transgender athletes out of girls' sports and women's school sports. And another 6-3 decision, the court upheld laws from Idaho and West Virginia, finding that those restrictions do not violate Title IX or Equal Protection Clause. So supporters say the ruling protects fairness and safety of female athletes. I think anybody in their right mind would understand that men and we're physically different, right? So a lot of people on the proponents of this are saying, look, we're protecting our female athletes. Opponents, on the other hand, say it excludes transgender students from equal participation. Either way, the decision gives the states more power to set sports eligibility rules and could affect similar laws. Now, this is by state. This is the Supreme Court saying the states have the ability to decide if this is going on. So there's not much, I don't see why anybody could be mad at this, but here's the clip.
Now to the major rulings from the Supreme Court. One is a defeat for the president, the other a victory. Let's go and bring in the legal win for the Trump administration when it comes to trans athletes. Our Scott Budman tracking it for us today. All right, Scott, what was the decision from the justices?
So the decision, and this is day 2, Audrey, from the High Court, was that trans women can be banned from women's sports if a state decides. So essentially leaving it up to the states. There are at this point 27 states that have laws on the books that say that trans women cannot compete against girls and women in sports. 2 trans women from 2 different states filed suit, brought it to the High Court. The High Court saying, no, indeed, it is up to the states. And so the controversy will continue. Here in California, for example, trans women can compete in girls and women's sports. But again, in 27 states, they cannot. And today, the Supreme Court ruling that can stand.
You spoke with a free speech advocate about this. What was their reaction?
So on the one side, it really depends on where you stand on this issue. If you're pleased or displeased. And on the free speech sort of trans rights side, disappointment, saying this keeps trans women and girls from being able to compete in sports. Also, the concern, she said, was that this could lead to further discrimination against the trans community. And
all right, I'm going to cut that one short too. Look, so you heard the arguments for either side. I don't know. We're gonna in our day and age where we can't decide what a man and a woman is, and we expect the rest of the world to respect us. It's ridiculous. Look, at the end of the day, men are built differently than women. I don't want a biological male on a wrestling match with my daughter who weighs 90 pounds. It's not the same thing, guys. I don't know.
I think Tiny will kick his butt, but
Tiny's, she's a piece of work. But she'll grab parts she wish she'd gotten rid of sooner. I'll tell you that much right now.
You taught her well.
So, guys, I don't know that we need to really hash this one out. The point of this particular thing is the Supreme Court is ruling, and they're doing their due diligence, and they're working behind the scenes. And so some of the agenda is being passed, some of it's not being passed, but either way, it's the law of the land, and we need to adhere to it. We might not always like it, right, guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every state has its own constitution for a reason, and we can go down the road, and this is one of those things. It's really common sense to me, of course. Why don't we just have a third group of people that compete against each other? It's really not that hard, but we want things to be difficult. We want to make things uncomfortable when they don't need to be. I don't know. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, this is what we're arguing about. This is what, in our great nation, this is what we're actually arguing about. And I don't want this to sound bad, but to your point, Tony, we have Special Olympics. Now, I'm not saying these people need to be in Special Olympics. I'm not saying they should.
But we could have trans. We could have the trans Olympics.
We could have something like that.
I saw it on Facebook or X. And Pete, this rolls right into what you've been saying for the last year and a half, 2 years. You're gonna bear with me. There's 3 genders: male, female, and mentally ill.
I mean, it could look. It's Yeah, there's not much I could.
These things are never just what they
seem to be, right?
There's so much more to it, but this one is a lot easier, and I don't agree with morally and ethically some of the things on the transgender stuff, but I will say we all deserve a safe space, right? I'll agree with that, but this one is coming at the cost of everybody else's safe space.
Are you just trying to sell a safe room? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
Yeah, I think we all need to be in a room. I agree. I think the safest space is in one of my buddy's safe rooms.
But you're right. You're right. To your point, 2% of the population is dictating what the other 98% has to call them.
It's not even about the transgender. It's that 2% keeps telling everybody what to do.
Right.
And I'm not gonna get too far off the beaten path, but it's just like the flags of everything flying everywhere and the stickers on the doors. It's like all are welcome here. I'm like, I just assumed we all were. Like, who's telling you?
I don't need to be told that.
Yeah, well, but I look at it the reverse. I don't remember in my 56 years I've been on this earth now where I walked into a store where it said you're not welcome here. You know what I mean? For certain genders and or however we want to label it. Like we have gotten so much further past that. And if you're telling me you want all of us to be accepted, then stop talking about it all the time. Like, I mean, really good people from all over that are from all genders, if we want to use that verbiage. And it's not really a big deal. But even inside those communities, they're like, why are we going down this road? Like, nobody bothers me. Why do you keep saying we need all this?
Because they need to sow division, right?
Group of them. Yeah.
And what it does, it's taken our eye off the real we'll call them crooks in our society, and that's the people that hold power in the nation that want to
Yeah,
keep
man.
us under their thumb.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
just say it. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Let's keep going, guys, because we're at 54 minutes already, and I got a couple more news things to hit. So speaking of the Supreme Court, Russ, this is something they are going to be seeing in the next session. Rhode Island's new AR-style assault rifle ban is now in effect in Rhode Island. Governor Dan McKee signed a law banning the sale, manufacture, purchase, or transfer of certain semi-automatic rifles and shotguns while allowing people who already lawfully own them to keep them. So you can't buy them anymore. You can't transfer them anymore. Anyway, but the bigger fight ahead is going to be going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments next session on similar bans. Rhode Island's not the only one. Connecticut is banning them. Cook County, Illinois is banning them. These cases are going to decide whether the AR-15 and similar rifles are protected under the Second Amendment and can still be banned by state and local governments. Here we go.
Automatic firearms, including AR-15 and AK-style rifles. The law also allows people who already legally own firearms covered by the ban to keep them, but it prohibits future sales, purchases, and transfers. Just yesterday, the Supreme Court said they will soon consider appeals, asking them to strike down bans on semi-automatic firearms in Illinois and Connecticut.
There you go. Much like what Egghead said, Supreme Court is set to see this. And guys, the Supreme Court deciding whether or not an AR-15 is protected under the Second Amendment, this could go sideways. This could go sideways for the American people. Now, back to what we were talking about with the 14th Amendment, there is a precedent set there, and there's a usage, they'll call it a usage law. Egghead, you can help me out with this, where so many people actually have these type of firearms that it would be hard for the Supreme Court to say, no, you can no longer have them. So, but remember, the Supreme Court could, let's see, looks like they're carrying over from Duncan versus Bona case. So maybe they will address the magazine. Yeah, they're going to, and they probably will hear many of those Second Amendment type cases in the coming session. So yeah, Heller said in common use. So these items that are in common use in America, it's going to be hard to ban those type of things. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. Yeah, like Egghead just said, the AR-15 is the most owned rifle in America. You know, same with suppressors. You know, we should be allowed to have them. They should be on freaking end caps.
Well, and I believe they've already addressed that, right? We talked about that in the last podcast. So you still have to register them, but I think they've addressed suppressors as being actually a safety item, a protected safety item. So Susie said all gun laws are constitutional. Got anything you want to add to that, T? Are you good to go?
Yeah, well, no, I'm in Virginia. Obviously, we have our own issues right now, right? That we're running up against. It's really, they get behind this rallying cry about weapons and being anti-2A and everything, and they keep creating more and more laws that are supposed to stop people who don't give a shit about laws.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, these laws don't affect crime. They don't. Are there weapons that end up in bad people's hands? They do. But how about we address that and not the fact that you're stomping upon people's rights? Like, if you could tell me how you're going to take all the bad people's weapons, then I'll sit at the table with you and talk about why we may or may not need them.
Right.
So, it's at some point we're going to have a president that actually does something about it, and we'll have a Supreme Court that actually does something about it. But, it's just one of those things, like a few of the other hot topics hot points that both sides like to use to argue and push around and say that they're doing something about or not about. It's really simple to me. It's 2A, it's an amendment. It needs to be defined so we all know what we need to get behind.
I think when you talk in legalese, Guy, and Egghead, you can help me with this. But I know when I used to write contracts for the government, right? I would write contracts, and anytime I said in there, you shall supply this part, or you shall supply this mil spec item number. Yeah. That's the one you had to supply. There was no gray area there. Yeah. So I think the Second Amendment pretty much says you shall not be infringed upon. So it seems cut from a legalese point. Seems cut and dry to me. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, I think they need to The Supreme Court needs to come out and actually, and they may have already done this, I'm not sure. They need to define exactly what the word shall means.
Well, I mean, I think from a legal standpoint, it's a known thing. Then it's no gray area when you say shall. Now, what does infringed upon mean? What does an active militia mean? I could see that's a gray area, but yeah. But look, don't be surprised. This particular SCOTUS ruling doesn't go sideways. But regardless, it's taking up airways, and it's taken away from Trump making $3 billion on crypto. So it's taken away from all of that. So that's probably what their intent was to begin with.
Yeah. So. Again, it says shall is known.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw, but his son owns a website called, I think it's Grab a Gun or something like that. So it's funny how now we're getting a ruling because his son is in position to benefit possibly from gun sales. So it's all a bunch of nonsense, man. But in the end, let's settle it. Let's solve it. Just
figure it. And look, I don't want to hear about Trump's sons at all. All I have one word.
It's all the same.
Barismo. That's all I want to say. Barismo. That's it.
We're still better off.
Yeah.
We're still better off where we're at, I guess.
No, 100%. And look, there's a reason why immigrants from socialist countries are fleeing over here in trash filled boats to get here, because guess what? Socialism doesn't work. Communism doesn't work. And what we're finding now is the Dems are starting to understand that. They're actually starting to break ranks with their far left counterparts. Check it out, guys.
We cannot keep paying for Netanyahu's wars with our tax dollars.
And we have to use every tool in the toolbox to make sure that we abolish ICE and keep our immigrant neighbors safe.
The work continues, my friends. Solidarity forever. Abolish ICE. Free Palestine.
What I heard from many voters is they do want a different kind of politics.
These are the far-left radical Democrats that socialist Mayor Mamdani is supporting to take office. But moderate Democrats are making it clear that that's not their vision for their party. They're banding together against democratic socialists, and they're making a commitment to American values, strong borders, and patriotism. And one of those lawmakers is New York Congressman Tom Suozzi, and he joins us now. Thank you, Congressman, for joining us.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. There are 13 centrist Democratic House members that have signed the Promise to America, and it's really promoting capitalism over socialism. Why was that important to you?
You know, there's certain things.
First of all, can you imagine a congressman having to actually sign a document like this? Could you imagine that? Like, what are we doing with our lives?
That I believe in that are not being reflected in the current environment, especially with some of these races on Tuesday. And as we said in our pledge, we're for capitalism, not socialism. We're for safety, not lawlessness. We're proud of America, not ashamed of America. And we need to be promoting those things. And, the far left and the far right, they're all very well organized. But those of us that don't support those far left or far right principles need to do a better job organizing and getting our message out.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing this, but I was surprised that only 13 were willing to sign your pledge, this Promise to America. Why aren't more speaking out?
No. There'll be more people as time goes on. We kicked this off about 6 months ago. We had a formal unveiling about it a month ago. And yesterday we announced the first 10 members of Congress and the first 5 Democratic candidates. And our goal is to get 20 candidates, 200 state and local officials, and 2,000 people throughout the country as far as donors and activists and people involved in their community to try and build a movement. This is going to take some time to organize an effort with people that are committed to this.
Yeah, I mean, they're socialists. It's almost like our country is going to have 3 different parties. They're not Democrats. They're just using the Democratic platform to get ahead so that they can have power.
Guys, Bernie Sanders has been doing that forever, right? He's a socialist running under the Democratic flag. And when they say Democratic socialist, I talked about this last week, that's communism.
This is Jamie Harrison, the former.
This is James Carville right here. He's been a pundit and a strategic guys for the Democratic Party forever. And this is what he has to say about the far leftists.
Chaz said, all of these people hate Democrats. Why do you want to run as a Democrat? Start your own movement. If it's such a powerful, sweeping movement that's got momentum everywhere, then go ahead and be at the head of it. Don't use the Democratic Party to advance it.
Of course, this is Fetterman from Pennsylvania, and this is really, now he's been the shining light of the Democratic Party for a long time, but this is what he says will actually make him break from actually the Democratic Party.
These are normal Democrats. I don't know why we have other Democrats, even people that are calling for their jobs in leadership, saying you're next. Why can't you just push back and say these are abhorrent beliefs, communism, socialism, and now for me, what my real concern is the Democratic Party is going to put it into the platform, is an anti-Israel party, that Israel does not have the right to defend itself and to exist. And the second that becomes a formal part of our platform, and that's the one thing that would push me out of this party, because I'm deeply alarmed the way the Democratic Party is going after Israel and allowing to just rank anti-Semitism to flourish, in the left on the campuses as well too.
The common sense part of the Democratic Party. This is the only thing I want to say about this, guys. We don't have to chime in on all this, but one thing I will say about this: if the Democratic Party were to split the way they're talking about, you are going to see a GOP House, Senate, and President administration for a very, very freaking long time. So I don't know if anybody disagrees with that or not, but look, Bernie Sanders. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I got one I think I'm a little cynical about people don't give the Democrats enough credit for how they plan and how they attack. They're much more long game thinkers. As I take a step back, and I just always look at things from an adversarial aspect, but it's great marketing to say that you don't agree with all this stuff, to get the independents way more comfortable with the Democratic Party, knowing that they're putting up a fight to see more like they're more about capitalism and everything like that, to pour more of them away from the loony right, so to speak. I'm just talking in generalities. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to really entrench more voters to say, hey, we are the party that's real. Look at, we're willing to challenge ourselves and challenge each other and these other things, blah, blah, blah. You have to look long game with them. They've been better at it. They're better at marketing, messaging, and everything else. And
they stick together, right? That's what the argument's always been. While the GOP is infighting all the time, that at least the Democrats are sticking together. But the problem is now they're attacking their own. I think we're seeing that. I don't know if the anti-Israel climate's doing it, the Islam climate's doing it, or whatever. Just a
they want a third party. They want a third party, and this may not be the third party they wanted, though.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Guys, we wanted. Russ, you need to add anything to that, or are you good to go?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Guys, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that the U.S. Navy, there's a U.S. Navy crew member still missing out of an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter that's assigned to the USS George Bush. It made an emergency water landing in the Arabian Sea. 3 of the 4 crew members have been recovered and are listed in stable condition aboard the carrier now, while Navy assets continue to search for the 4th. Officials say there's no indication the incident was caused by hostile action, but they're in hostile territory right now, right? Well, they're in international territory, but that particular seaman, that particular crew member has not been found yet. So we'd be remiss in not mentioning that and showing a quick video on that, guys.
At this hour, the Navy is searching for a missing crew member after a helicopter had to make an emergency water landing in the Arabian Sea. The new details from Navy's Central Command revealed that an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter went down in the sea that stretches between Oman and India. So here's what we know at this hour. The Navy has recovered 3 of those crew members who were on board. They're all now back aboard the USS George H.W. Bush, and the Navy has made clear there is 0 evidence so far that this crash occurred because of any type of hostile action. NBC's Courtney Cubey covers the Pentagon, as you know. Courtney, this happened around 11 o'clock, I believe, local time, right? The middle of the day. What do we know about the ongoing rescue efforts? You've been on these helicopter carriers. You know how these things go.
Yeah, so this is really the Navy's version of a U.S. Army Black Hawk. So it's the workhorse of the U.S. Navy when it comes to helicopters out at sea. And people might be wondering why there would have even been helicopters that were flying right now in the Arabian Sea. But keep in mind, even though there is this ceasefire, the U.S. Navy still has about 24 ships out there, and they are flying helicopters and aircraft every single day. So everything like training missions, some replenishments at sea they're involved in, like dropping things. You can see in some of the video and the photos that we have, they're dropping things down onto the deck of a ship. So they were up for something like that, a training mission or whatever it was, and when this happened. Now, officials are telling us that, yes, it was an emergency landing, but it was what would be considered a controlled landing on the water. But remember what happens when a helicopter, you know this well, hits the water. It starts to spin. There's an urgent search continuing underway right now. It's nighttime there. But I just spoke with an official who confirmed that they still are very urgently searching for that missing crew member.
Well, and the clock is ticking, of course.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. We still have people in harm's way over there, even though there's a quasi ceasefire going on. So our prayers are certainly with that particular crew member.
Absolutely.
Ms. Doran says she is sending prayers to our Navy. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of veterans that have served in chat and stuff like that. So you know how the family's feeling right now. So, and some of them might not even be aware. So Russ, you know what time it is, buddy?
It is that time.
It's time for this week's prep of the week.
Russ, you go first. What you got?
Well, I am in the process of getting new tires for the camper. Finally getting around to getting it done before we head to Montana. Thank you once again. I'll publicly thank you for your help. Today. It's a process, having to do it while it's stationary instead of tearing it down and taking it to the shop. That sort of thing. So, I'm testing out the equipment that I have that I carry with me. It has worked thus far. So we know it's value added that we're getting some extra training and changing tires on austere terrain, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that one on the other side, on the left side, was a little sketchy.
It was all right. It worked out fine. So, Tony, what we do once a week is, and we do this, we try to hold our viewership accountable. So at least preparing in one way, shape, or form every week. So we hold them to task. Now, you're trying to build a preparedness company for all intents and purposes. So sure. Tony, you get a bye this week, but unless you did something extra, then
he was warned.
Tell me about it.
I wouldn't say that I did anything extra, but today and yesterday, I'll say, was battery day. Charging up all my lithium batteries, all my lawn equipment, my cordless drills and tools. And it kind of started because the onboard computer battery on the Tesla went down. So I was like, this is a good little sign. Let's check everything out, make sure it's all good. We have a few vehicles. That's just one of them. But having all that stuff charged up, my little EcoFlows and all those different little Jackery batteries and all that, with this heat, just like with ice and stuff like that, you don't know when the power is going to go out. I have some larger backup batteries, making sure they're all good to go. Anything that needs to be trickle charged. And I have some generator work that I need to get on this week, in the chicken coop also. So that's what I'm going to be working on. So.
I like it. You have my approval. Then you did a fine job.
Yeah, man.
Guys, don't forget.
Do you like the EcoFlow?
Do you like that EcoFlow?
I do. So I have a small one. I have the two large ones that'll run my refrigerators. If the power goes off, and a couple fans, and then I can keep my cell phones and everything. They perform great, especially the large ones. I keep them plugged in and they cycle. They turn back on. You have a little app that'll let you know about them. So, I wait till they go on sale because I'm on a budget like everybody else. They're not whole home. I'm pretty blessed to be up here in the mountains. We get a good breeze. this weather's not normal. So we can open the windows during the summer. It stays plenty great. And I have a fireplace and fire pits outside if the power goes off when it's cold. So I really just need to conserve my food, make sure I can use my well pump, which those batteries will push my well pump in, and I'm good.
So what I'm hearing, Russ, what I'm hearing is that the next Eden event is going to take place somewhere in the hills of Virginia.
Well, I'll make sure it's in a holler in West Virginia. I love West Virginia. I love West Virginia. Don't get me wrong. I'm just going to make sure I send you to a particular place.
That's all right. Oh man, don't threaten me with a good time, guys.
I know, right?
My prep for the last few weeks. First of all, I'm writing, of course, but I've been really concentrating on my health. Right, I've been trying to drop a few pounds. Been working out at least 2 or 3 times a week. So what I've come to realize is that as a single lead of the house, the only man in my house, right, that I need to be in some type of physical shape to where I can do what I need to do. So that's what I've been working on, and everything's going good. I'm not going to give you all my results and stuff like that. You have to go to my OnlyFans page for that. But you're gonna
you got that wrong. It was only.
Russ can tell me about
it. So Russ, let's go through the pinned comments here, and I'll give you the first one right here.
All righty, let me get up here. Miss Terry, she was in the chat earlier. She had to leave because David got a pump that he could hook up to a 12-volt battery, and they are actually using that pump to pump water out of their water containment system, the rain barrels, to water their garden. And I thought that was actually really, really cool. They had and all this chat with that happened before we even got on here. We got a bunch of overachievers here, Tony.
No.
They were in chat 30 minutes prior, 45 minutes prior, having their own conversation.
They're not overachievers.
I was here 30 minutes early. When I say here, it wasn't
in the wrong room.
The wrong room, but yeah.
I was making sure it's clear.
Guys, a public service announcement from the Dorns. If you have a Publix grocery store near you, check to see if they have canning jars. She's finding them, buy one, get one free. So check those out. Russ?
Nick Meacher says he has pace, march, spotting, surveillance, and many more courses he added this week. Guys, go to Fortune Favors the Prepared and check out Nick's website. Join his Patreon. He's got a bunch of good courses. I've actually tested a couple of them for him, and he's got some really wealth of information.
Another one from the Dorns, guys. The Roy and I got 3 turkeys from the freezer. Into the pressure can, made 24 pounds. Guys, we're getting ready to do some pressure canning here in the Northwoods, so I'm looking forward to that. But the Dorns are your pressure canning, and if I'm not mistaken, your freeze drying resident experts. So if you have any questions for the Dorns, check out their Facebook page. What's the Coastal North Carolina?
Yeah,
put it in chat, Julie.
Yeah, Coast Plains, North Carolina Preparedness Community.
There you go. Put it in chat anyway. Russ, what you got?
Charlie was in chat earlier. He can put it up too. P7, Patrick 7 says, prep of the week, he got some anatomically correct CO2 powered Nerf gun M4 training rifles for Little 7. And I am training them on room clearing and leapfrogging. And Patrick, wasn't Little 7's birthday this past weekend, I believe?
That sounds is probably why he got them. Well, happy birthday to little Eden 7. Rev, first of all, make sure you go ahead and put your light on your everyday carry, regardless. Put a light on it. And if you have an optic, if you decide you have an optic, so make sure that your holster is going to accommodate each of those. And guys, your everyday carry should have a light on. I'm sorry, I was the no light guy for a long time until I needed a light, and then I didn't have. So put a light on your everyday carry, guys. Guys, that's it for the preps of the week. Good job, guys. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you.
Susie's?
Oh, what does Susie have?
Susie's been fighting pests in the garden with alternative non-chemical methods. Tomatoes are doing fantastic this year, so everything wants to eat them. Getting some more range time in. Got a friend that's going to teach me how to weld and use a cutting torch. Susie's on the ball. And she sent me a picture of the tomatoes she got last week, and it was like a basket, huge basket full.
She's turning into a mad Mick of
She
Umatilla
is.
area, Pearson area. Bullshite, I
Yeah.
miss Bullshite too. He's putting way more rice and beans.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know that this was happening to the Rev, but
Nope. But yeah, Rev, you'll be in our prayers, brother.
yeah, you're in our prayers. Hopefully, the MRI comes back negative. We already know it's not going to see anything because
Tell us
Rev-
of a misfit youth with Rev.
Rev is our resident, I call him Rev. He's our resident spiritual advisor. He's a good Christian man, and he tells me when I'm starting to get off track from my walk with Christ. So we appreciate you, Rev. We're praying for you, brother. Good stuff. Tony,
Yes,
the
sir.
time is now, sir, to lead out these fine folks with some words of wisdom that only a guy from the hills of Virginia could possibly give them. Go.
Well, first I want to thank you, Pete and Russ, for having me on here. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I'll get locked in and be a little bit better next week or when I see you guys again. But what I would like to leave with everybody is there's a big word I like to use. Not a big word, but the word accountability. I think if we hold ourselves accountable and hold the people around us accountable in the good ways, I think we can all move forward in this ecosystem in a positive way. We need to hold our public officials, law enforcement, each other, ourselves accountable. Every day is not going to be a perfect day, but do an extra push-up, get an extra can of beans. If you can only afford a pack of batteries, get a pack of batteries. If you're just clearing weeds around your house, there's always a little something that you can do to make you and your day better and more prepared. And I hope to be a part of that with my company and my equipment and just me as a resource and a consultant. So that's what I would say. Let's be accountable to ourselves. And then it's easier to hold other people accountable, particularly our government and the people that quote unquote make it function. So I can make it quick and easy, just like that. And we can talk more about it in the future as I come back. If you'll have me back, I know how you authors are.
All right, I'm cutting his ass off. Yeah, no, you're welcome to come back. And good, right? Accountability. That's why we do Prep of the Week. Russ, I'm coming to you next, so be aware, be ready, Russ, next up on the stage, Russ. But anyway, yeah, you're welcome back anytime. We're glad to have you, brother. Russ, give us your words.
Hey, guys, as always, number one, another great podcast. Pete puts on a heck of a show. Preps, great preps. Learn from the folks that are doing the preps. You let it inspire you to do something similar or remind you to do something. Get the training. We always talk about training. We talked about Gucci gear and everything else. Training is more important. Spiritual health, physical health, and then worry about everything else and keep care of your family. That's all I got, Pete.
Good stuff, Russ. Yeah, and our buddy Will Gomez, he's not on tonight, but he holds me accountable in this fitness journey. Will is a fitness buff, so he's holding me accountable. What are you doing? What are your gains? What's happening? What's your blood levels? This, that, the other thing. So he's keeping me accountable. But guys, so I won't see you before the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of our great nation. Keep your head on a swivel, guys, right? All right. Don't stay away from soft targets. Spend this time with your friends and family. There's no reason to get into big crowds. Unless you really want to, then by all means, go do that. But take this time to reflect on the great nation that we live in and how blessed we are to live here. But and look, at the end of the day, stay away from soft targets. Be safe. If you can't be safe, well, be dangerous. Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.